Hi, I'm Keya Shirali, the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Finance Officer of the Carleton Film Society.
Hi, I'm Beatrice, the Head of Production with a focus on logistics.
And we're starting a new series where we're meeting film industry professionals, from actors and directors to producers, and we're interviewing them about their filmmaking experience. And we're really excited for you to join us in our journey.
So today here we have Sam, and he's just going to tell us a little bit about himself, about who you are and what do you do.
For sure, thank you. My name is Sam Ogunremi. Been here in Ottawa since I was 7, moved from Saskatoon, so Canadian born still. I've loved film all my life, I must say. It's always been a great passion of mine. I've just always been intrigued by movies. I'm also a big soccer fan as well, and I guess sports in general as well. But for me, in terms of the filmmaking industry here in Ottawa, it's pretty new for me. I've been writing now for about 2 years or so. I'm just getting into my first project there and kind of halfway along the ride, so it's a great time to interview. I've really appreciated the opportunity, and thank you so much, guys, for doing this. I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and that brings me to my next question. What interested you to get into films and filmmaking? Was it a moment, a movie, a person?
I would say that, again, I've always loved movies. I always loved going to the theater. I still remember one of the very first vivid theater experiences for me was 2008 WALL-E in the theater when I was 8 years old. I would have been 8 years old at that point. And again, I only rewatched it again actually for the first time a few months ago, but I just remember just being so stunned and so in awe, even as a little child, watching this movie that obviously I had no idea what it was about. But looking back at moments like that and how I've progressed, I just saw that I've loved movies my whole life. I've had also, as I spoke earlier, this deep passion for soccer, and that's kind of what I've been going with for these past, I'd say 14, 15 years now. Over the course of the last 2 years, kind of had a shift in perspective and thought that, potentially maybe this is something that I want to chase in terms of filmmaking. Potentially this is something that I'm called to chase. And in terms of like a specific moment, remember in 2018, this would have been late December or so, I had just come back actually from Portugal. I was living in Portugal. I was playing soccer in Portugal. And at that point I was kind of like, okay, am I going to go back to Europe and pursue soccer? Am I going to go to Carleton? I actually ended up coming to Carleton for a little stint there in the early 2019. And all of a sudden an idea started to well up in me. And, once again, obviously I'd always loved movies. However, I must say, it never truly crossed my mind that I would become a filmmaker or a writer. I never thought I was very good at writing. I never thought that I would become a director of any sorts, even though I love movies, until I got an idea myself. I started writing that in 2018. That idea that just, really spoke to me, and still haven't stopped writing that idea, and now it's gone on to many other ideas. So, I think there in 2018, when I just got the idea to write something of my own, it inspired me to, write my own projects and then, own them from the directing perspective there. So, I think that would answer that.
And with you're writing your stories and filmmaking, how did you even begin to start with filmmaking? From watching your movies, but then to actually putting it in action.
I don't consider myself an expert in filmmaking at all. I really don't. Again, it's been about 2 years that I've really had a deep focus in terms of learning and asking questions and discovering. And it started from the writing perspective. I just very much liked thinking of my own ideas, and that moment when you're driving to school or whatever, and then it just clicks. That for me has been such an adrenaline rush as I've continued this writing and now turning into directing journey. So yeah, I think that for me, again, looking back and then looking at now, in terms of the writing and directing, and I mean, it is quite personal because, it really was a change of direction in my life, I must say. But overall, to get to the heart of your question, I think that, yeah, for me, when I thought about what I wrote and I put it down on paper and went back, I was like, oh, this is not a good idea. Okay, let's try something else. It did awaken a passion inside of me, and so. Yeah, that for me has continued to carry me along this journey, I think. Yeah.
So could you, if you can, could you tell us anything about your project Date Night, and what is it about? How did you start it?
Sure. And this also actually spills a bit into Beatrice's last question there. In January around of 2020, this is before COVID, before everything, right? Thinking 2020, what a year is gonna be. I started thinking of ways that I wanted to break into the film industry. I started thinking of all these things, and so as I was taking a couple of online courses and listening to people, I heard of film festivals. I heard of how that brings success, and I was like, all right, well, this is an avenue that is one of many that I can go with. And so I decided that I wanted to write something with specific intention to submit it for a couple. There was a couple that I had my eye on specifically, but in general, any film festivals in the summer of 2020. Now, obviously that didn't happen. However, I very much enjoyed the experience of almost writing under a sort of pressure that I wanted to get it done by a specific time, so I had to be very focused. So yeah, with the project Date Night, that started, now it's a long time ago, right? But it started in January. I started writing something. I didn't specifically know what I wanted to write, but I knew I wanted it to be in the thriller genre, and so that's where it's at. And yeah, I finished it around early February, I think. Then around late February, started gathering the crew and making connections. Trin Keen played a major role in bringing people together. Yeah, for Date Night now, as I told you guys earlier, like it's now right in the middle of production. So yeah, it's a story about a lady and a gentleman who go out on a date, and everything seems normal until a conspiracy theory is brought up, and then we're brought through a series of flashbacks, flash forwards, in which we see that maybe not everything is how it seems during the date. So yeah, I'm very excited to finish it up, and yeah, I'll keep you guys up to date with that for sure. Yeah.
And so, was this like your first? This was your first project as like an actual film, like a.
This is
film?
my first, exactly. Okay. This is my first, project directing. Been on sets and been helping out and whatnot. But yeah, this is the first screenplay that I decided I wanted to, sit down, think about all the details, start bringing people on, and just do something about it. And for me, that was quite something, because I still remember in like late January looking at July saying, I want to submit this thing by like May or whatever, which means I need to get everything done. But I was sitting by myself. There was nobody. It was just me and this stupid computer in front of my face with this script that I still wasn't entirely happy with. But then I connected with a childhood friend. And then she connected me with the guy, Diego Guzman, who's going to be doing the music for it, the original soundtrack, and then connected with Trin, and then Trin connected with many people, and connected me with Beatrice, and Beatrice connected with many people. So like it's just ridiculous how if you have the belief, the tenacity, and the determination, you can come from sitting by yourself to actually bringing a lot of people into believing in your idea as well. It's quite powerful. especially as a beginner filmmaker there. So
Yeah. I asked like if it was like your first because since we've only had like half of the shoot so far, and I just want to know like from the experience you've had and shooting and all those nights of practicing, how like what have you learned so far? Like,
one thing I've learned is that the process isn't always fun. And I think it's actually why I might stick with it because I just watched Tenet the other day, and you know, obviously won't give any spoilers or anything, but like Chris Nolan is one of my personal favorite directors. He speaks to me in a way that not many directors speak to me, and sitting there watching it, I thought of being in the middle of my production and the little things that annoyed me, you know, during production, or you know, when I was running late because this and that, or when other people were running late because they mixed up, or we were missing things, and I thought like, you know, these things wouldn't be different in a Chris Nolan production. There would still be human error in every little thing, right? But at the end of the day, the product is there, and it's something special. I think all of us who love film know that the end product is not something that you can just you know, you can just say, okay, cool. Like there's something special of having that end product. And so even though I recognized very quickly that I didn't appreciate every single aspect of the journey, I knew that the end product was worth it. And so that's what's kept me strong for sure.
I just have like, and we need to know the review and rating of Tenet.
Of Tenet?
We just need to know.
You want to know my opinion of Tenet?
We need to know your opinion compared to, you know.
I have the app Letterboxd, which is a film rating app, and I wrote my review last night. I took a day. And, you know, again, what I want to tell people is please never go into a film, even if you hear other people's like reviews, never go into a film like thinking, oh, like it's going to be really good, really bad just because what someone else said. I know I always do that, so fair warning. But I would personally give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Wow.
I thought it was good, but I thought that, there was some things that I also thought could have been better. But yeah. I enjoyed it. I'll show you after for sure.
So you mentioned soccer earlier,
Yes,
and then
yeah.
you were talking about, you know, the whole process behind date night and
Sure.
from January, every aspect that you've been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
How would you link your connection or your passion for filmmaking with your connection or passion for soccer, since you also mentioned tenacity and determination, and I think I would go so far as to say those are common aspects in both of those industries. So
It's so linked, and I'm happy you asked. That's a really good recognition from yourself, because that's one thing I've thought of so often, whether on set or writing or whatnot. You know, for me, I played semi-professional in Portugal for about half a year, and you know, when I was playing here in Canada and then moved there and saw the difference in tenacity and determination, and you know, I was living, for instance, when I went there, I lived with this a few young men, but one of them was 14 years old. He had left from, I think it was it Eritrea, somewhere in East Africa, I believe. Left his family, packed all his things, came to Portugal, and was really just there with a dream, not much money, and a couple people who were there to help him. And it made me realize that, you know, no matter if you're in that predicament or in, you know, an often better predicament in the West, at the end of the day, you still need that mentality. And whether it's, again, soccer or film or arts or medicine, it really doesn't matter. You still have to have that tenacity, because at the end of the day, you're one of a million people who want the same thing. And so if you don't have that belief and that consistency, and not to say that it'll stay like that all the time, it won't. You'll obviously have times where it's tough and where, you know, everyone comes down and up and down and up, but if you don't have that hope, I guess, then it definitely can, you know, be a stumbling block in terms of trying to turn that dream into into future success. And for soccer, for me, it was something that I worked hard on for many years, and I saw the results, and it was good. And I've seen it in the smaller scale, just in terms of time, of like, again, I worked hard on the script, and then I saw the results when actors liked their roles, and when crew came on and complimented the script, and and it just makes you feel like you're really working towards something. You have that goal, but you have to put the effort behind, and there's so many parallels. I could really go on for a long time, but yeah.
And with you filming your short film right now and being in Ottawa, how have you found the experience with working with the film community here in Ottawa?
The film community here in Ottawa is very tight-knit, and I so appreciate that. Like I mentioned Trin Keen, and I'll use her as an example. Sorry, Trin, I know you don't like me put it on the hot spot, but listen, she runs a I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's a sort of place where filmmakers come together and you can show your films. I think it's called Kino Ottawa, and even for that, pre-COVID, when people would come week in, week out, show their 3-minute films, their 10-minute films, whatever, and a lot of filmmakers would come out. I mean, that's in and of itself networking. And so with the example of Trin, she, I met her, and she, when we would go through, for instance, because she was the casting director for Date Night, when people would reach out to me and say, I want to audition for this role and this role, and they saw the advertisement, Trin would be like, oh, I know that person from here, I know that person from there, and Trin's not the only one. There are many people who just know people because the networking in Ottawa is very strong, and I think that's very unique, because Ottawa is a very unique city in terms of film. It's not like Toronto, where they have seemingly infinite amounts of money and whatnot. It's not like some of the smaller cities where they're also struggling, but it's a place where, I feel like if you have the effort, the tenacity, you can really make do with some really good resources, and again, the film community is tight-knit. I don't feel like there's a lot of unhealthy competition or strife. Yeah. I felt welcomed into it, even again as a newcomer, and I very much appreciated that. So yeah.
So what you mentioned about Trin with Kino Ottawa, I mean, I feel that's a huge aspect of community building, which is really positive, really encouraging. But you also mentioned competition and how in this industry it can get really cutthroat at times when you go at a different scale. And so what kind of mindset do you think amateur or young filmmakers, or even someone who's just getting into this industry, should go in with to be able to cope with that kind of cutthroat competition?
Okay, I will say my opinion, but I will first say that I think my opinion isn't the absolute truth. I think there are many different facets and ways that you can go about it, and I think many people have tried many different ways and they've come out successful in many different ways. How I see it, and it kind of draws back to also as an athlete, is I remember when I went to Portugal, I kind of went with the mindset that I have to believe that when I step out on the field, I can perform better than everyone else there, or else like you're not actually going to believe in yourself to even do well in the first place. And so when I did that, I felt like I did better. I felt like I was able to perform better. I felt like, again, mentally, because 99% of so many of these different fields is about mentality. And if you have that strong mentality, then again, even if you're not as talented a writer as Quentin Tarantino or as talented a cinematographer as Roger Deakins, you can still learn and get to those places just through your mentality and tenacity. I think that young filmmakers should have a belief system that's like non-compromising. I feel like they should have their community close around them. They're stay close to friends, family, and really make sure that they have people who believe in themselves, have have them to believe in themselves as well, so that they can continue to press through. Because like I said, there's always ups and downs in any field that you go. Film maybe more than some. And so with the competition and the cutthroat that you were talking about, it can definitely get competitive, and Ottawa included. I'm not saying it doesn't get competitive, but I think if you go in there with the almost individual mindset, that every single person is an individual, no one's greater than you, no one's less than you, then at the end of the day, you are the only person in control of yourself. Everyone else is going to do what they're going to do. But if you, again, work hard, keep pressing through the setbacks, and have a spirit of belief, I believe that that's the best way to look at an industry that, definitely seeks to leave people behind. So,
So, I mean, we've spoken about community, we've spoken about setbacks. If we were to speak a little bit about hope, I want to ask if you have any dream project that might be in the works or that you're thinking about, more projects after date night, anything alongside?
Yeah, I do. I'm someone who, even when I'm writing something, I still have other ideas that come to me, and then I just write them down, put them to the side, and keep focusing. So I definitely have a lot of projects. The one that really got me into film, I won't talk too much about it, but it's just something that, and I feel every I guess writer, because this is more on the writing side, but writer or creator should, or even more broad, creator should have something that is their own, not necessarily just thinking about other projects that you can be a part of. Other projects are great, and I have that as well, but I feel like if you have something that's your own, then you also can use that also as motivation for the future, and motivation for the now. And for me, I have another short film project that I'm right now tossing in the air if I would do it in Ottawa or not. I'm still thinking of where I'm gonna live in this next year or so. However, if I'm here in Ottawa, and obviously COVID still, I'm not sure if I would necessarily start a project during COVID. We'll have to see. But I do have another short film project that I'm thinking about, and I've written a good deal of notes, and we'll have to wait until date night's over to really focus on it. And then I have another more feature film project that I've been working on for the last couple of years that has just become such a big passion of mine. Other than that, I think I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think one day I would like to be the president of Lucasfilm. I think so. I've loved Star Wars since I was a kid, and I feel like sometimes it's had its moments of I won't go much past that, but I'd very much love to be the president of Lucasfilm one day, in the future.
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much for being able to sit with us and talk to us about your experience and as a filmmaker and director. And I just want to wish you good luck to any of your future projects and what you're gonna do in the next year.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it. You guys really set this up well. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here, and we are absolutely sure that all our viewers are going to be so inspired by everything that you've said. I mean, there were a lot of important lessons that you've imparted here. And so here we take your leave. We hope you stay tuned for more coming up. We're really excited for that. And so bye for now.
Thank you. No, not at all. Very professional. Still recording?
Yeah.
Oh my God, blooper reel.
Yeah, you guys have to keep the whole thing up. We have to seem fun too.